Well, I'm one of the camp leaders. Tracy Brown is our director of social work and social services, and she's a master social worker, a licensed professional counselor, and she's the one that puts on this camp every year. But she is very much the behind the scenes person. She definitely is the machine that makes this turn. But Tracy had this great idea years ago that, you know, kids are often kind of misunderstood when it comes to grief, and they're kind of those that are left out when it comes to the grieving process and people getting services for grief. When you think about a family that's lost someone and maybe people come to the house to visit, it's usually adults visiting with other adults. Or even at a funeral home, if there's a visitation, it's adults visiting other adults. And people oftentimes kind of don't know what to do with younger kids and with children, and don't know how to address their needs, and don't know how to recognize the signs that they're dealing with grief or dealing with you know, this great sorrow. So this idea for camp came up. It's pretty one of its kind. I know there might be a couple of others similar to it in Northeast Texas, but we're proud to do what we've done and to be able to serve the number of families that we've been able to serve through that. I think the way that we've discovered is the best way for kids to deal with grief is to do it with other kids. Most children look at mom and dad or whatever adults in their life, and they kind of look to them to see how they react. Well, as parents, we often are very guarded with showing our emotions to our kids. On the one hand, we're trying to safeguard our kids, and we don't want our kids to see us that upset. Well, what happens is the kids never really see all of our emotion come out, so they often don't then express their emotion. We might express our emotion to our spouse or to some other adult in private, but we rarely let all that out in front of our children. And so our children may not understand the type of grief that we're going through, and then therefore don't know how to express their own grief. But when they get around other kids and realize, oh wait, this person lost their grandmother, or this person lost their father or their mother or their sibling or their cousin or their uncle or whatever it is, and they realize that there's other kids that have had similar loss, then they're much more likely to open up about that and talk about that and express that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you were telling me too that this is not, we're not solely focusing on the grief, you know, at the camp. You know, this is a fun way. So what's kind of the balance there? How do you go about that?
Sure, we want camp to be camp. You know, everyone knows what they think of when they think of summer camp. They think of fun games and fun activities, crafts, songs, silly stuff that we do. We do all of that. This camp is just like any other camp that your kid would go to. A summer camp, an art camp, a school camp, a sports camp, a church camp. All those things are encompassed within this camp. The only thing that we do differently is when we have our times that we come together and we do teaching, we're talking about coping skills to cope with grief and sadness and sorrow and loss. So we do something different for our memorial service every single year. We've done a dove release, we've done a butterfly release, we've done balloon releases, we've done medallions that we've done for the kids, we've done rocks that we've painted for the kids to serve as kind of a memorial. We want something that's lasting. So this year we decided to do ornaments, kind of like Christmas ornaments, these clear ornaments that come apart. They could put their loved one's name in it and a few other little small decorations, and then we would hang them on these birch trees so that they could kind of get the full impact of the number of ornaments there. Again, reinforces that they're not alone, because all these other ornaments represent other people's loved ones that they've lost as well. And so we just want something to be visual, and then also something that they can take with them to be a reminder, and to remind them that sadness is part of the grieving process, but then we get to the point where our memories are more joyful than they are sad, and that's where we try to help them to get. I think sometimes we assume that our kids are okay because they look okay. We don't see an outward expression of emotion sometimes from kids when they're going through things. So I would encourage anyone, if you've had a significant loss, and you don't really even know how your child is processing that, then you know, it doesn't hurt to give our camp a try. Again, it's a fun camp like any other summer camp. It's fun, but also a lot of times we kind of break down some of those barriers where kids who wouldn't otherwise share begin to share and talk about the loss and the hurt that they've gone through, and that's a positive thing. We don't want that stuff bottled up.